Welcome back to the online sessions on DCCN. So next important topic, which is the last topic that we have to discuss to complete this unit number 2 here. That's going to be error detection and correction techniques. So these two are also going to be a very important functions of a data link layer. So the data link layer has to provide functionalities. That means how error detection and correction is going to take place in the data link layer. Okay, that is a point of discussion that we normally going to cover over here. So what is nothing but an error? You know already, error, it is an unwanted disturbance in the signal is known as an error. So here in the case of data communications, we are going to transmit the data in terms of binary bits. So therefore we may transmit data in a wireless medium or in a wide medium. So if, say for example, if you transmit data in a wireless medium, whenever electromagnetic signal flows from one place to another place. What do you mean by electromagnetic signal? It is nothing but a radio signal. That means the signal is transmitted through air without wide medium. That means it is totally an unguided medium. The signal is transmitted through unguided medium. It may be subjected to unpredictable interference from heat, magnetism, or any other forms of the electromagnetic waves. So while the data is being transmitted to the radio waves, the waves are going to get the waves are normally going to get interfered with so many other dust particles, so much of heat in the atmosphere, and magnetic materials in the atmosphere, so on and so forth, and the data bits are normally going to get corrupted. So there must be some mechanism available at the receiver side for detection and correction of these errors. So for transmitter, it says that I have transmitted the data bits correctly, whatever it has got. But those data bits, when it reaches to the receiver, when they reach to the receiver should have a mechanism to detect, if at all, any errors are there, and correct the errors if it is possible to correct the errors. Otherwise, the receiver can send a negative acknowledgement to the sender to retransmit the previously transmitted frame or a packet or data for that matter. So now, depending on the number of the erroneous bits in a single data unit, the data unit may be of 8 bits, 16 bits. That means in powers of 2 power 8, 2 power 2 power 8, 2 power 7, 2 power 8, like that the data bits will be coming as something like 8 bits, 16 bits. Usually we consider the bits in terms of bytes. So 8 bit data, 16-bit data, 32-bit data, 64-bit data, like that is considered to be a data unit for us. So depending on the number of erroneous bits in a single data unit for us is going to be 8-bit data, 16-bit data, or 32-bit data, etc. like that. There may be two types of errors. One is going to be single bit error, burst error. What is single bit error? If at all any one bit, if at all any one bit in the transmitted bits is erroneous or it will become erroneous, it comes under the single bit error. That means only one bit among the number of bits in the transmitted data unit should be corrupted. If that is the case, it comes under the single bit error. If it is going to be more than one, it is simply going to comes under a burst kind of the error. So usually the term burst we use for a continuous number of bits. That means continuously a data will be transmitted at a flash. Okay, at a particular clock cycle, all the data bits are transmitted in a single clock cycle. That is what called burst data. But here it doesn't mean burst, doesn't mean that it is going to be continuous sequence of bits transmission, continuous sequence of error bits. The error bits may be spread over the uh, data bits. Say if you're transmitting 16-bit data, for example, the data bits may be on the first few bits in the 8 bits data, and next some few bits on the next 8-bit data. So in that case, that kind of error is going to be called as a bursty type of the error. So this burst error is more likely to happen in the serial communication, and single bit error is most likely to happen in the parallel type of the communication or a parallel communication. So whatever it is, maybe the communication, we should discuss about how this error detection is going to take place. First of all, we should detect the error. That is an important point of discussion now. Detection of error is first point. After we detect the error, we have to correct the error. That is the second issue. So first issue, let us try to address, that is error detection techniques, how to detect the error. That is the first issue. So this question is a very important question. So these four error detection methods should be known to every student, because it is a very regular question and very common question in the end exam. Now this question you will be getting it for 8 marks. So therefore you should know all these four different methods. So each method is going to carry 2 marks. So put together you normally going to get around 8 marks question. This is okay. So let us look into this now, error detection methods. So in this error detection method, error is normally detected through redundancy method. What is redundancy? Redundancy means appending a pre-calculated extra or short group of bits, extra short group of bits at the end of the data unit. So redundancy means something like coming extra is called a redundancy. So redundancy means more than intended is called redundancy. That is what the general meaning of redundancy. So redundancy means appending a pre-calculated short group of bits at the end of the each data unit. So we have to figure out what is going to be these redundant bits based on the methods we are going to use. That is only the thing. That means if you're looking for parity checking, even parity, odd parity, we normally going to have one bit. For even parity, odd parity, or group of bits, you want to make some apply some methods, mechanisms to find out certain group of bits, and those group of bits are transmitted at the end of the data that you normally going to transmit. Let us let us see all these things in detail now, one by one. The extra bits are redundant in the sense that they are not actually data bits and carry no information. So these extra redundant bits does not carry any information. These bits are normally used for the detector or a receiver to detect for the errors. If at all any errors are there in the transmitted data bits by the time that that they are received by the receiver. So they are used to detect. That means these extra bits are used to detect the error in the data unit, and then they are discarded after error detection process. Now there are four types of redundancy checking as given below, called as VRC, LRC, CRC checksum. So this VRC is vertical redundancy check. Don't write in the exam VRC, LRC, CRC and CRC like that. Write it completely. Vertical redundancy check, longitudinal redundancy check, cyclic redundancy check, and checksum. So these, among these four, last two are very much popular. So in the industries, even now also, people are normally using these two techniques to detect the errors in the transmitted data. So first method, let us look into the first method, vertical redundancy check method. So in this vertical redundant check method, the most common and least expensive mechanism for error detection is nothing but VRC. So very common and very inexpensive method is going to be the VRC method, because it is just a single parity checking kind of a method, often known as simple parity checker. So it is nothing but a simple parity checker. VRC check method is a VR check method is a simple parity check method. How it is doing it parity, let us see. In this scheme, an additional bit known as the parity bit is appended to every data unit such that the total number of ones in the data unit, including the parity, is going to be even. Including the parity is going to be even. So we have to send a parity bits. So including the appended bit, the total number of bits should be parity whenever they are going to get transmitted by the transmitter. That means, say for example, if you are transmitting 1110010, so how many ones are there? Four ones. Four ones means it is going to be even parity. It passes through even parity check. Therefore, this is 0. 0 is appended at the end. 0 is appended at the end. Now, what happens at the receiver? Receiver, after getting the data unit, checks for the parity. Whatever it receives in this all bits, it checks for the parity. How many ones are there to the receiver? Without any error, let us say it is going to be once again 4. So 4 is going to be even parity. Even number of ones are there. That is total number of ones is even. Then it decides that the data unit is okay. Otherwise, it discards the data unit, generating an error signal. That means here in all these four methods, the transmitter and receiver should agree to a particular methodology. So, for example, transmitter is transmitting the even parity checking bits. The receiver should also look for the even parity only. That is what the difference which we should look into. So this is called simple VRC checking bit. Now, if you see carefully, this is the number of bits, 8 bits. These bits we are transmitting along with the parity bit at the end. So put together there are 9 bits. So we are transmitting simply 9 bits from this particular parity checker or VR checker, vertical redundancy checker. So that's the method which we have. The next one is going to be called as longitudinal redundancy check method. Longitudinal means what? Group of bits are taken, and we simply find out we apply parity to the group of bits. How it is done now? Let us see here. What is that written over here? In the longitudinal redundancy check method, a block of bits is organized in number of rows. Say, for example, you are transmitting 888 bits. That means 8 plus 8, 16 plus 8, 24 bits. So these 24 bits are simply chopped by 8 bits. So this a block of bits is organized in a number of rows, and the redundant row of the bits is appended to the whole block of the bits. You have to find out the redundant block based on the parity. Now, what parity we can just think of here? Let us see. If you go with checking, if you go checking with even parity, this is 0, 1, 0. 0, 1, 0 means there are odd number of ones. To make it even parity, I should put 1 here. Next is 1, 1. This is even number of ones. I need not add 1 here. So it will be 0. The next bits are going to be something like 1, 0, 0. So therefore, it is going to be 1. So like that, last bits, if you see all 3 ones, 3 ones means odd number of ones. To make it even, I have to make 1 here. So like this, I simply generate an even parity checker by taking the group of these bits. Now, after I get this group of bits, now this is the data: 111, 0, 111, 0, 111, 0, 111, 0, 10, 0, 111, 0, 111, 0, 11, 100, 100, 100, 100. This is the data bits. Now we append this particular LRC code at the end of the data frames. Now what the receiver will do? Receiver also going to simply calculate once again its own LRC. If the LRC is going to uh, that means if the receiver checks this same 3 bits, if it take 3 group of data items, if it take it performs the task, it should get the same result. It should get the same result. So if these two are going to get checked by the receiver, if these two are same, then there is no error in the receiver data. If they are not same, then that means there is some error in the data. Okay. Next important thing is that the cyclic redundancy check method. This is also a very popular method which has been implemented by the industry. So one of the most common and powerful error detecting method or a code is called CRC code, known as cyclic redundancy check code. So it is purely based on the binary division. In this technique, a set of redundant bits known as CRC reminder is added. So here in this technique, a set of redundant bits known as CRC reminder is added. Cyclic redundancy bits are simply added to the data. We have to find out the CRC code here. And that code we are going to add to the end of the data bits before we transmit. So let us see, let us understand this by using a problem. So this thing has been explained by theoretical concepts. Now what I want to do is I want to take up a problem. So with the problem, I want to explain this particular CRC method, because using problem, we understand it in a better manner because it involves binary division. Okay. Now, there was a question in the university. There are two bits given, A and B bits. A bit is explain about various error detection and correction techniques. So we are discussing on error detection techniques, not correction techniques now. We'll discuss after this. So correction techniques. And next there is a problem given. This problem is on CRC. So the generator polynomial is x cube plus x plus 1. A sender want to send data known as 1001. Generate cyclic redundancy code for this data given. Also describe error checking process if third bit is inverted from left. So this data, in this data bit, there is 1, 2, 3 bits. If you start from left, third bit, if it is inverted or if it is become an error, then once again, check this error condition. That is a problem given. So here in this, it really CRC works with the binary division method. So here for binary division, two things are required for you. What is the first thing? You need to have a data bits. You need to have the polynomial. You need to have the data bits. You need to have the polynomial. So here g of x is known as polynomial. G of x is given as x cube plus x plus 1. So g of x bits are normally going to happen at a respective weights. What are the respective weights? 2 power 0 is 1, 2 power 1, 2 power 3. Okay. So 2 power 2 is not there, means it is 0. That means 2 power 0, there is going to be a bit. 2 power 1, there is going to be a bit. 1 into x is x. 1 into x cube is x cube. That means there is no 2 power 2 here. So what is the polynomial? I can write this polynomial as 1, 0, 1, 1. So 1, 0, 1, 1 is going to be the polynomial called g of x. That means this particular polynomial is going to always going to follow 8421 code. After this, we have to add some padding bits to the data before we go for doing the division method. So how do we add padding bits? We add padding bits by simply g of x minus 1. What is g of x? The number of bits in g of x. How many bits are in g of x? It is 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't start from 0. Start from 1 because we want the count. So therefore 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 minus 1 is equal to 3. So padding bits are going to be 3. So you have to add 3 zeros at the end of this particular data stream. So therefore data is given as equal to 1001, 1001. Add 3 padding bits because the padding bits just now we computed as 3. We have to divide this by the polynomial 1011. So these first 4 bits are data bits, next 3 bits are padding bits. This is a polynomial bits. We perform the division operation now. 1001, 000 is going to get divided with 1011. So when you multiply this with 1, what do we get now? 1011. Now here what is important here is this you should remember. You should perform XOR operation for these two data streams. 1 XOR with 1 is 0. 0 XOR with 1 is 1. What is XOR? XOR output is going to be true only when the two inputs are different. If two inputs are same, output is going to be 0. That means if inputs are 0, 0, output is 0. If inputs are 1, 1, output is 0. If inputs are different, 0, 1, output is 1. If inputs are same, 1, 1, output is 0. Now we simply drop, here I have 4 digits in the polynomial. So you should also get 4 digits here. So therefore you drop these two zeros here. And once again, you multiply this by 1, you get 1, 0, 1, 1 and discard zeros. Discard the MSB zeros. This is important step. Discard MSB zeros. We left over with these bits. Apply once again the XOR operation. 0, 1 means 1, 0, 1 means 1, 0 XOR with 1, 1, 0 XOR with 1, 1, 0 XOR with 0, 0, 1 XOR with 1, 0. Therefore, discard these two bits. Now simply drop this 0 over here. So finally, how many, up to how long we have to go? You should go at least minimum to a level of 4 bits because polynomial is 4 bits. If polynomial is 5 bits, you should repeat it for 5. If polynomial is 6 bits, you should repeat it for 6 number of bits. Now, here I got 110. Now, there is no other value here. because it is 4 digit, it is 3 digit. So therefore we stop here the process of division. Now this is called as the CRC that we have generated, cycle redundancy code we have generated. Now what the transmitter is going to do here? The transmitter is going to send the data bits known as 1001 along with this CRC 110 to the receiver. What the receiver will do? Receiver will take this entire data that is called 1001 110 entire data. Receiver is going to take this. The same data is divided by the polynomial, because transmitter and receiver is normally going to have the same polynomial with them. Once you divide it by 1 means 1011. Let us see, 11 means 0, 01 means 1. This is 0011 means 00. XOR operation is 0. So discard zeros, drop 1 1 here, 1011, multiply this by 1. So therefore I get 1011. Now let us solve this by applying XOR operation for these two inputs. 1 XOR with 1 0, 1 XOR with 1 0, 0 XOR with 0 0, 1 XOR with 1 0. So we get all zeros, drop here 0. Discard all zeros, that means the output is normally going to be equal to 0. So in case of no error, in the received bits, error becomes equal to 0. If error value is equal to 0, we say that there are no error bits received. That is what understood. Now intentionally what we do is, if error is introduced in the third bit from the left side is as given below. Original bit stream is 1001 from left side, third bit is this one. So this bit has become erroneous bit. 0 will change into 1, means what? This bit has become an error now. Now receiver receives these bits now, 10111110. This is what receiver has received, multiplied by 1. So all this is XOR operation 0. We discard all these things. 1 1 0, I'll write 0, I'll drop it over here. Now the result is not 0. Since result is not 0 at the receiver, we say that there is an error. So CRC at the receiver is going to be this one, known as 110, which is non-zero. Hence we say that an error is detected at the receiver and the receiver asks for the retransmission of the data. So this is what the CRC generation. If error is detected, we should get a non-zero value at the receiver. Okay. So this is what the method, which is very important, CRC method. So this is called CRC method. Now you can put this method in the words and you can just simply explain the operation of the CRC method. Take some example in the end exam also, and I think for the example you can remember this example very easily to solve, because it requires very less number of bits. So you can use this to explain in the exam as well. Okay, in case problem is given, based on the problem number of bits, you have to solve for that. Okay, well, then the last method is going to be the checksum method. The last method of error detection is going to be the checksum method. So checksum is very important method at the last. It is an industry standard method also, once again, just like CRC. So therefore CRC and checksum are very, very important industry standard methods. Now how this method is implemented? This checksum is an error detecting method that is applied at the higher layer protocols in general. So the checksum generator, now this also does the same thing, divides the given data unit into equal segments of n bits. Say for example, in this example, I've taken an example of 16-bit data. The 16-bit data is divided into two chunks of data, each of n bits called 8 bits. In equal segments of n bits. That means n is, if we take 8, so 8 bits, I'll simply divide them. Now what is the process here? These segments, these n segments are simply added using ones complement method in a way such that the result is also n bit long. So you should get same n bit long result. That means 16-bit data we are converting into 8-bit data. Or if it is going to be 24-bit data, we are converting into 8-bit data as a checksum. 8-bit checksum we are getting. The sum is then once complemented and appended to the data unit as redundant bits. called as checksum. That means the sum is then once complemented. That means the result is once complemented and the sum is then once complemented, and this once complemented one is simply added at the end. Now let us see the procedure now for the checksum what we're doing. Now understanding by example is very easy for us to go with. Let us say the data bits are going to be this. This is 8 bits, 8 bits, total 16 bits. 16 bits are divided into 8 bits each. Okay, are to be sent using 8-bit checksum. So the transmitter does the following tasks. First of all, these two are taken and we simply add these two. 1 plus 1, 0 with carry, 1. So anyway, this is 0. 1 plus 1 is 0 with carry, 1 plus 1, 0 with carry. This is going to be 1 plus 1, 0 with carry, 0 plus 1, 1. So 1 has come over here as carry, that 1 will come over here. This is 1 as it is, 1 plus 0 is 1. So this is the sum I got. Now simply you have to simply get the once complement method. For this we add 1 to this. When you add 1 to this, once complement method. Okay, what is once complement method? Sorry, once complement method means what? Zeros becomes ones, ones becomes zeros. So simply have a once complement method. That means 0 becomes 1 becomes 0, 0 becomes 1, 0 becomes 1, 0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 0. Like this, we get another stream of bits, and this is taken as a checksum. What we do is, at the end of this data frame 10101001, then next bits of data is going to be what now? 0011110001, 0011110001. At the end of this, we are going to add this particular checksum, and this entire stream 8 plus 8 plus 8, 24 bits are transmitted. Now what the receiver will do? Receiver will simply divide this into equal chunks of 8 bits. It has got these 3 bits and it simply adds these 3 bits, and it finds out the ones complement method. Ones means what? Ones will become zeros. If the result is 0, we say that the data received is without any error. That means in this case there is no error and data is accepted by the receiver. Okay, now how it is added, let us see. 1 plus 1 is going to 0 with carry, 0 plus 1 1 1, 1 plus 0 is 1 over here, this is 1 over here as it is. 1 plus 1 is 0, 0 with carry, 0 plus 1 1, 1 plus 1, 0 with carry, 0 plus 1 1, 1 over here. So that means same thing here, 1 1 1, all ones you're going to get. So finally I'll be getting here all zeros. After you apply ones complement to this, you get 0. Since the result is 0, we say that the received data is correct. Now let us cross check the same example with the erroneous data. Let us take this data at the receiver now. Transmitter has transmitted this data. That means whatever I'm transmitting now, this has been transmitted by transmitter. Receiver receives like this. What the receiver has received, let us see. The transmitted bits are going to be 1010 1001. Here it is 1010 Instead of double zero, I got double one. That means what? It is going to be called as a burst error. 110. Input is going to be what now? 0011. This is going to be double, instead of double zero, I got double one, 111, 001. Okay. Then what about CRC? CRC will be coming as it is. That is checksum will be coming as it is. Sorry. So checksum is going to be as it is. 000 11101 000 We simply add up all this. When you add up all these things, what do you get now? It is going to be like this. Add 1 to this. Okay. That means you find out the ones complement to this. Definitely it is not 0. Since it is not 0, we say that the data frame is totally corrupted. So that the receiver is going to ask for the retransmission of data from the sender. So by these methods, we can detect the error at the receiver side. So if the receiver detects the error, it simply asks the sender for retransmission of the same data frames. So like this, we apply the error detection techniques. Okay. So in today's session, we'll stop it here with error detection. Tomorrow's session, we complete unit number 1 after we complete the error correcting techniques. Thank you very much for today's session.